And you can see that I've got it getting lighter, lighter, lighter. You can see I made a nice sharp horizon up here. I just did my blue and white mix all the way across, and each color I added blue and white to it as it goes up. And just to remind you, that is because I'm assuming that I have a blue and white sky. So I'll start making those smile shapes, following the same pattern. See, so I'm coming down off the edge of a wave, and I'm making my pattern wider as it dips into this trough, and then skinnier as it comes up this way. And then it doesn't really matter where I start ramping up onto another wave. I can do that anywhere. As long as I just make it get skinnier as it goes up, wider as I go down. See, I can make two waves right here, one right in front of the other. Maybe they merge into one wave. I make one stroke that comes down or goes some direction. I make another stroke that just crosses right over one of the ends of that stroke. I don't do a whole lot of crossing right over another stroke like that. A trough, and then the point meets the trough of another, and then that point comes down. So the point of the wave comes up and meets the trough at some point, and that pattern repeats itself. So I do practice at making my strokes connect with each other in that way. See, so this would be the top of a wave right here, meeting the trough between two waves here. But in my foreground, these lines swoop down a lot more than they would if I was doing that same thing up here. Like in here, you can see I kept them a lot more horizontal than I am when I'm down here in the front. Higher in the picture, I definitely want to have more of the reflection color. But I already do because I made that gradient. So that saves me a lot of work. That's an advantage of this wet on dry method. As the brush runs out of paint, I can come back and kind of feather over these, and you can see this corner kind of getting rounded. And I think just the busyness of it all causes the corners to naturally look more rounded. If I want to brighten something, there's an order of color change to follow. So imagine that this color is at the bottom of a ladder, and as it gets brighter, it goes violet, and then it goes red, and then orange, then yellow, to a bright white. So if you're putting yellow in it, it needs to be very bright before you're actually putting yellow. So following those rules, I'm going to take this violet and I'm going to do the next color up the ladder. So that's going to be red. It needs to be red-er, not red. I don't want to confuse you. Now I'll just come right up to the tips of these waves here, and I'll bring this down and maybe smear it out with my hands because I want it to have a soft transition into that deeper color. So in the process of doing these highlights, I did lose a little bit of my highlights from the reflections. So now is probably a good time to come back and use a brighter white and do little bright highlights over those. So remember, I just do them on these portions of the wave. And that's just reflection on top now, so I don't need to worry about my different colored underwater. Just make little dots in here. Boom. Now I'm just having fun.